Welcome, everyone. Welcome, students at SFU. So this is our third edition of the Microfilm Festival, featuring the work of students from SFU, School of Interactive Arts and Technology, who took the Moving Images course taught by Kate Hennessy. Kate has been partnering with us, the Museum of Vancouver, for several years now, with students from her class producing films supporting our exhibitions project in very substantive ways. COVID-19 hit in the spring of 2020. Everything shut down, including the museum. And very quickly, MOV staff wanted to find ways to connect with people and help people connect with each other while documenting the impact of the pandemic in Vancouver. And so we came up with Isolating Together MOV. So that's a social media initiative that invited people to talk about their experience of COVID-19. And so we received several entries from members of the public, but we also received a call from Kate, who wanted to know if she could build her course around this initiative, and so that's been the beginning of this new adventure. And students, having to work in isolation, online, limited means to produce their films. It's been fascinating to see what they produce. And over time, this is our, like I said, third edition. We've seen these films evolve and their range change, and the experience of living with COVID change. So I'm so thankful that we've been able to do this together.
Thank you, Viviane. It's been really a thrill, as always, to get to work with the museum. It's such a valuable experience for us as instructors, and also for students to be able to collaborate with you, and especially to have the opportunity to support the work of the museum through videos for exhibitions. And in this case, it's been very exciting to see the films as a part of your exhibition real-time collecting. And we've learned a lot too by thinking about the objects that you've collected throughout COVID, and also how these stories can be a part of the way we might remember this time. This semester, our third effort to document people's experiences of COVID has been so interesting, because I think the stories have really shifted from that first kind of direct representation of people's experience of isolation and confinement. Last semester, I feel we went through both a lot of sadness and reflection about how people are coping and what that looks like, and how they've tried to connect with people while in the middle of the online teaching experience, online learning experience, and then being, fearful of what was coming. To this semester, which has been really a transition semester, students are no longer learning online. We're learning in person again, but we're slowly coming back to the kind of in-person teaching, learning, and connection that we had before. So in this case, we wanted to create an opportunity for students to still continue to do remote filmmaking if that's what felt best to them, to connect with people remotely if people who they wanted to talk to felt better about connecting remotely, and to be quite flexible about the kind of stories, the tools that are used, how much people are out in the world. Now, I was very impressed to see how much people were actually really ready and willing to talk, to share stories, and to come back into the world. So you're going to see a lot of films today that are about resilience, that are really beautifully documenting various communities and their experiences, some very positive, some really dark and difficult. So I just really appreciate the work of the students, the bravery that they showed in thinking very deeply about their own experiences, their own stories that they wanted to tell and contribute to the memory of this time, and the way that they also thought about and reflected on the communities that they're a part of, who have adapted so amazingly through technology and through other means to keep each other safe. So it's really exciting to see, and thanks for the opportunity. And congratulations to all the students. Before we announce the awards, because this has been a tough semester for everybody returning, And really, every single one of the films is worthy of being commended for bravery, storytelling, reflection, and so on. But we are going to highlight a few of the films for their exceptional contributions, and that's what we're going to be announcing today. I just want to take a moment to introduce Catherine Pierce, who's the teaching assistant for the course, and invite Catherine just to share a little bit from her perspective about some of the ways that students worked to cope in this semester of transition and filmmaking.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm the teaching assistant for the course. It's been really fun seeing these students try to adapt and shift back into person and see what tools they used. Because this semester was quite different with the transition from online to in-person classes. Students had the opportunity to consider different themes and approaches, not just in their films, but also in the activities they worked on throughout the semester. Like semesters before, the students took inventory of their filmmaking equipment they had in their homes and the creative ways that they could use ordinary objects. However, as the class progressed, it was clear that they were excited to get back to collaboration. From taking photographs through Zoom with multiple people to gathering museum-like collections of COVID-related artifacts from a number of their friends. Honestly, it was such a privilege to see how students were able to take the skills we learned from some of the remote activities and apply them to their more collaborative work further in the class and hopefully in the future.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I totally agree. I totally agree. It was amazing to see students really harness the things we learned in the pandemic and apply them to this time where we don't have to be isolated in the same way, but we still need to have a little bit of caution and care around how we interact with others going forward. And that's probably here to stay for a little while still. So with that all in mind, I think it's time to move to celebrating the works that we especially wanted to recognize at the end of this semester. The first film that we want to recognize is in the category of Best Documentary. And the film that we are giving this award to is called Aviation. It's made by filmmakers Emily Zhang, Vincent Huang, and Jason Yang. Congratulations. This is a documentary that is a beautiful portrait of a pilot who reflects on his experience as a pilot, learning a little bit later in life, and his experience of navigating the pandemic in this way.
The most exciting part about flying is the freedom of getting up there and the views. When you're in an aircraft, you're moving and the view is constantly changing, but it's just magnificent. I'm Clark Klosky, member of the Abbotsford Flying Club and owner of this beautiful aircraft sitting behind me. And I've been flying for about 35 years, and I've been a member of the Abbotsford Flying Club for about 35 years. I'm just a general aviation pilot, and I just enjoy flying just for the love of it. Well, it started off with me through my 20s and 30s. I started having a reoccurring dream of being at the controls of an aircraft with people behind me, and they all seemed to be just talking and enjoying themselves, and I obviously was the pilot because nobody else was up front where I was seated. And I looked at all the instruments and the controls, and I had no idea what they all meant. And I would wake up in a cold sweat from this dream and thinking that somebody's trying to tell me something, and the dream would reoccur. I had the dream maybe a half a dozen times in that period in my 20s and 30s until I started flying when I turned 40. Well, I actually learned to fly right here at this airport, Langley Airport, and I hired a young instructor. He emphasized that flying is the type of activity that if you if you make a mistake, you're going to die. And he was very clear on that point. And I think the very first flight, he took me up and he did a spin on the aircraft, which scared the crap out of me. I started in the fall of 1985, and I soloed in March of '86, and I completed my license shortly after that. So in '86, I just turned 40, and it was part of the plan when I turned 40, I was going to learn to fly. So I got it in that summer. I did do quite a few flights to like Kamloops, Cache Creek, into the Okanagan, Kelowna, Penticton. That was pretty common. We would go on flyouts there, and I was flying Juliet Victor Tango, which was Father's aircraft, before he sold it. Not any really long cross-country flights until I got involved with the flying club. And then we flew to Reno, and we did a couple of trips to Whitehorse, and it was just really good flying because a lot of guys had a lot of experience with cross-country flights. I had flown this aircraft quite a few times. We flew this across Canada in 2012 with Bob, the previous owner, and down to Deep River, Ontario, southern Ontario. It was about a 20-hour airtime flight down there. I bought this airplane in late June, early July of 2020, right in the midst of COVID-19. It was difficult to show friends the plane because you had to stay in your bubble. The flights were restricted to your region, your health region. So if you couldn't file a flight plan out of the health region because that basically was breaking the rules. So it was tough, and so I basically had to fly either solo or with people in my bubble, you know. I think it's made me wanting to socialize more with people now that it's coming to an end. Like I feel I've missed a lot in this year and a half or 2 years, and there's a lot of people that I wanted to fly with and enjoy the airplane with that I haven't been able to do. So now that that's coming to an end, hopefully we can start getting together with some of those people.
The next film that we would like to recognize is in the category of Best Cinematography. And if you're feeling a little bit hungry right now, I think this film is going to make you even hungrier. This is a film called Ganbaru by Adrian Fung, Adrian He, and Christian Lim. This film is made by employees of STEM, a Japanese restaurant in Burnaby. This film is remarkable for very wonderful cinematography, beautiful documentation of the kitchen and the food and the chefs and employees who have worked so hard to keep the restaurant going during this time. So congratulations.
はい、パンデミックのことに関してなんですけども、何が急に、レストランのダイニングインができなくなって、テイクアウトオンリーと言われて、ちょっと路頭にさまようというか、何が正解で何が、間違っているのか、それすらわからない状況だったので、まず何をしようかなというところから始まりました。Hi, my name is Tatsuya Katagiri. I'm born in Tokyo. I'm from Japan. Owner of the Japanese restaurant in Burnaby. It's called STEM Japanese Eatery.
My name is Yoshiaki Maniwa, part of owner of the STEM Japanese Eatery, and I'm doing the sushi chef. お持ち帰りメニューを始めるきっかけは、コロナの影響で店内の営業ができなくなり、大変苦労しました。私のパートナーの片桐の考えで、いろんなメニューを作り、みんなで働き、
はい、パンデミックの中でテイクアウト、というのがもうほぼ、メインになってきてたんですけども、普段今まではテイクアウトそれまでやってなかったので、そのテイクアウトの、オペレーション、に関してもかなり、いろんな試行錯誤をしながら、やりました。テイクアウトのメニューを作るにあたって、簡単なメニューだけではなく、小さな子様から、大人まで、みんなが楽しめるような、幅広いメニューというものを、考えました。それに加えてそのスタッフの、モチベーション、それをやっぱり保たなきゃいけないというのもあるので、その使う食材とか、そういうものを、他のレストランと同じような安っぽいものとかにしないように、ステムらしい、食材を使いながら、季節のものを使いながら、メニューを考えたりしました。でもみんな本当いろんなことを失敗したりしながら、スタッフのみんなが頑張ってくれて、最終的にはかなりいいものを、テイクアウトとしては、出せるようになったと思っております。おまかせコースも、お弁当で、やってくださいという要望が、少しありましたので、それに関しても挑戦、たくさんいろいろしてきました。同じ食材を使っても、器に盛るのとお弁当箱に入れて出すのとでは、やはり全然価値が違うので、正直、プロフィットはほぼなしな感じで、フードコストプラスアルファぐらいなもので、提供するぐらいにしかできなかったので、ビジネスとしてはあんまり良くなかったのかもしれないですけど、おまかせコースの料理を少しやることによって、僕たちのその見えないゴールへのモチベーションは維持できたかなと、そういうふうに思っています。Thank you very much for all your support, during the pandemic. We still survive. ありがとうございます。
The next film that we'd like to recognize is in a new category that we created this year called Best Community Portrait. And the film that we'd like to recognize is called Shift in Time by Candy Song, Kara Chang, and Viviane Xu. This film documents the experience of a church in Burnaby and how the congregation and the pastor really had to be innovative and creative in their approach to keeping people together. And they especially reflect on what that's meant for them today as the pandemic continues and shifts. So this is just a lovely portrait of a community who is extremely resilient and supportive of one another in this time. So congratulations.
My name is Mark. I'm a pastor at Burnaby Alliance Church, and we have been pastoring at Burnaby Alliance here in the Cantonese congregation for about 4.5 years now. People ask, what do you do as a pastor? I would say my role and duty here, to speak of it in bigger terms, would be to shepherd people to walk together with Jesus Christ. One of the funny things during the pandemic, when we started to move everything to Zoom, a sector of our church in certain WhatsApp groups, they started receiving news that Zoom has a lot of security issues and a lot of security concerns. So when we tried to start some of our fellowship gatherings on Zoom, they refused to join. We had to set up support groups to teach some of our more senior members that are not as tech savvy to know how to do that. And to our surprise and to their credit, people are adaptable and they can change. And it was quite amazing to see. I'm an interactive person. So when I preach, I would verbally and physically, I would move closer or I would ask questions and people would respond. When you're online, you can't do it all the time because you're asking a camera and the camera's not going to talk back to you. So that does affect a little bit of the way I preach. But the preparation, the stories that connect people to the Bible, that doesn't change. Our church has been looking into this new way of preaching the gospel and showing God's love to people. It's called a small group structure we call Blessing Group. We actually started this Blessing Group during the pandemic. It became a movement that people are joining into. Everybody is in sharing their story of walking with God, how God has impacted their lives and changed them. And we found that that's really works to show God's love to people outside the church. For me, spreading the gospel is telling people this good news. Yeah, God loves you. And he wants to be in a relationship with you, like father and son, one who loves you more than anything in the world. I want to see people coming to worship Jesus, to know that they're loved by him and that they can love him a bit more and a bit more every day. And I want to see that worship extending out into the streets where people going out shine. And they're light to the world. When people see them, they see something good and different, and they want to know why, and they want to know how, and they want to know this light, this Jesus that shines.
Like to recognize a film in a category that we call digital worlds. And it's been so interesting over these 3 semesters to see the films that emerge that show how people remained connected through a variety of online worlds, like gaming especially. So this is a lovely film by Alexandra Grant called Love of Mine, and it's a very sweet story that shows how 2 young people stayed connected when they couldn't be together physically. So congratulations, Alexandra. We love it.
Remember when you came over for the first time?
Yeah, I do. I think it was yesterday. And it was fantastic. It was everything that I wanted to be.
I'm so happy you got to visit me a couple times. It was so upsetting not being able to see you for like 6 months. Right after we just started dating.
Yeah, good thing we had Minecraft to keep us busy in the interim.
I'm so glad you introduced it to me.
I'm so glad that I did too.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
What was your favorite moment of us playing Minecraft together?
My favorite moment of us playing Minecraft together?
Was it when we defeated the Ender Dragon?
Oh, it was when... It was every single time after we logged off or when I first logged on, reading and writing those love letters in the tower.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my favorite parts. As cheesy as it is. What was your favorite part?
I really like getting the elytra.
Yeah.
And being able to fly around. I really liked getting some horses. I liked building our house.
You did a really good job.
It was so nice to be able to interact with you over the game. Minecraft was the first online game I'd ever played.
Can't believe that.
Now we play a bunch of online games together.
Like Apex and Destiny.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Apex Legends, my new favorite game. I love it.
I can't believe you're as into it as you are. I remember when we first started playing, how frustrated you were. You hated that game.
I hated that game. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
nice moving back to the city. And instead of just having to hang out online, we're able to hang out in person too.
So nice. I get to see you all the time.
Now we'd like to recognize a film in the category of Best Editing. This is a film that always makes me smile. It's by Oscar Wiesel called What Did You Do? Hope you enjoy it and enjoy the very nicely edited piece that shows what Oscar did during the pandemic and invites you to reflect on what you accomplished as well. Congratulations, Oscar.
Hi, my name is Oscar, and this is my COVID experience. I coped a lot. I played guitar. Too much guitar, actually so much guitar that it got so boring. I took so many selfies that it was kind of ridiculous. Just look at my face. It's disgusting. I cried, I celebrated, I made a cat in an animation course and it basically destroyed my life. Fuck my life. Just like you, everything I did was online. But maybe not like you, I submitted everything last minute. There were high moments, even higher moments, low moments, dog moments, nothing moments, girlfriend moments, and a whole lot of pissing my dad off moments.
Bye. Idiota. Mental.
And the reason I share these seemingly random moments with you is because one day we're gonna look back and think, what the hell did I do during the pandemic?
I don't fucking know.
And I can assure you, you did way more than you thought you did.
Oh, yeah, this is so fucking dumb. And he's done it! After all these years and... When is it gonna be done? We're almost done.
Okay.
Before we move on to our final award, which is the Golden Mask Award, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge a few other films in the category of honorable mention. And congratulations to everyone who participated in this semester's Moving Images course. So now I'd like to hand it over to Viviane to announce the Golden Mask Award.
The Golden Mask Awards, the moment that everyone is waiting for. So we didn't pick one, we picked three. And so you'll see there's a bit of overlap with yours, but I think it's worth underlining the work of these three teams. So first one, and that's a solo. What did you do by Oscar Wiesel? And so the film, I called it a COVID map on Spirit. Amazing editing, fast-paced, it works. When I say we, I'm talking about Lorenzo Schober in communication. So we reviewed on the film and we just felt that the story arc was strong, how we connected with the audience and the camera. There was a nice common thread, and we love to see the hair growing and getting cut at the end. So really good. So thank you and congrats, Oscar.
Congratulations, Oscar.
The second Golden Award goes to Transmission, a COVID-19 documentary on the BC Honda Owners Club by Noah Jessup, Cody Leung, and Veer Singh Barney. Great story about a community formed around people's love for their Honda. So the Honda Owners Club story showed us how they dealt with the COVID, still managed to connect and even grow. We loved the variety of interviews and positive message at the end. Bravo.
Yay.
When I first joined, it was just community. It was just people together to get good deals on parts or communication on sharing knowledge. And it expanded to be so much more than that. So I didn't expect it to be this giant group of, right now, over 6,000 members of people who communicate, pass knowledge on what Hondas are. And it's that community that makes people stick around. It's that when something goes wrong, 40 people out of nowhere step up and say, hey, I'm here to help, even though you don't know somebody. One of the greatest stories of the club that happened probably 2 years ago was a gentleman driving down Highway 1 south of Langley, and his engine just blew up on the side of the freeway, completely toast into pieces. He posted in the club saying, like, I'm screwed, my car's down on the side of the road, does someone have a tow truck? And a couple of commented tow truck recommendations, but another guy said, hey, how about I drive my truck there and swap your engine on the side of the freeway? So they went there with a lift and 4 guys and an engine, and they pulled his engine on the side of the freeway, put a new one in, wired it up, and he was driving out of there within the next few hours. And that just shows the community of the club of people who didn't ask for a lot, just had free time, had the spare engine, and wanted to help out. When COVID first initially hit, meets were still allowed to happen in small groups, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. And we were told we can't have any meets, no major stuff. Other clubs were having meets because they weren't recognized, they weren't a full not-for-profit or anything. And because of that, we followed strict rules and the guidelines from the government, other clubs didn't. And it was a big letdown for a lot of our members because they're seeing all these other clubs have meets and we can't. We wanted to keep our members' safety as the #1 priority and maintain our reputation in the community as well, respect we have with the police and other organizations because of who we are and what we stand for.
Oh, absolutely. We basically tried to go in to see what we could do for protocols for the COVID pandemic stuff, based what the government was putting out. We had to shut down all our open car meets and couldn't do that stuff there, so everything had to go virtual. It was, when in-person meets had to be canceled, it was really like a letdown because as the Friday night look forward to things, because like I see a lot of people, Friday night's the end of their night, and that was their big get out, was to come to the car meet, to show the car off, see other people's cars and stuff like that there. And it's basically social time to have your coffee and whatnot, hang out and talk.
For me, the pandemic didn't hit me as hard as a lot of other people did, but keeping me busy was definitely something that kept me distracted and kind of helped me not even think about that kind of thing. But having a car definitely keeps your mind off of a lot of things. It is something that takes up a lot of your time, especially if you're interested in it and interested in modifying it or driving it and racing it, whatever. When you've got a car, you're always looking for things to do to it, and I think that discussing with other members really kept that engagement up, but it definitely took a dip during the pandemic for just actually engaging with other people that you know, because a lot of the people that you were used to seeing every week or every couple of weeks, you just didn't really interact with.
Getting back into the regular swing of meets was it was a bit of a challenge. We didn't know how to approach it at first. There was a lot of people who were hesitant to come back out again because people are afraid of, if you all go too quickly at once, then it's going to blow up again.
It was great. Like I said, we had the one big event they were finally announced, and we basically filled the parking lot at the Tim Hortons there in Langley and stuff there with every possible Honda you could possibly see, plus a few other small groups that are associated with the BC Honda Owners Club. They brought their groups out, so it was a big showing. It was just a big event, and it felt great to see everybody out there.
It was actually really great because seeing all these people that you haven't seen in a while is really great. It's good for your mental health, especially just meeting people, right?
The only direction the club's ever gone is up. It's grown exponentially since COVID happened. It's grown from the day I took over as president of the club. We were at 400 members when I first started, which was a very small group of people. And it's grown bigger than I or anyone on the team could have ever imagined. It's a big part of my life now that I didn't think it was going to be. It went from me having fun on weekends and going to a couple car meets to investing most of my free time into a club that I know and love and devote everything to, and have an amazing time with friends, family, and new people we meet every day.
All right. And the third one, so Love of Mine by Alexandra Grant. And Alexandra was able to let us into her world, a world that I don't know well at all, right? The world of gaming. But so we saw how the relationship with her boyfriend grew in and through the digital world during the pandemic. So while physically separated, gaming became their meeting point. So well filmed, great integration of Minecraft, like scenes, good dialogue, romantic moments between the players, like in the video game. That was so sweet. So congratulations, we were really impressed.
Congratulations, Alexandra, and all the winners. Viviane, can you just say a little bit about the Golden Mask Award, what this award is and how we came to it in this course?
Yeah, so, well, part of Isolating Together MOV is about, like I said, like documenting pivotal moments during COVID, like COVID being a pivotal moment in the lives of people in Greater Vancouver. We wanted to find ways to connect with people and collect their moments. So rather than just having an exhibition or a collection committee making these decisions. And it was so great to have your students thinking through what they thought was worth sharing. We're in the process of collecting digital objects at the Museum of Vancouver. This is a big step. We've been collecting material culture for decades, but digital objects is something new. So these short films will be assessed by the collection committee, and we'll see which one will be kept into the permanent collection, but there will be a few pieces. So that's very exciting, and we'll make sure to share that with you and the students. The other thing is we do have an exhibition at the museum called Collecting in Real Time, and we wanted to show how museums collect contemporary culture, contemporary moments. So of course, we are collecting pandemic in real time, and so that exhibition featured the first and second cohort of students, and so this last cohort of students' work will be integrated into the exhibition that will be shown till January of 2022. So that'll be cool for people to come at the museum and see their work projected in the exhibition space.
Absolutely. New field trip. I'm excited, and I can't wait, and very hopeful that everyone will come and visit and see their work in the museum. So that brings us to the end of this ceremony. I just want to thank you again, Viviane, and Museum of Vancouver. Thank you, Catherine, for all your work this semester supporting and teaching students. Congratulations to all the students. After this video is over, the playlist is going to begin, so you'll be able to see all of the films that were produced this semester. And I want to thank everyone who's watching today, and wish you the best in this time. So take good care and stay safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
My head's disappearing.
Oh, where? Yeah, I know. It's weird times. I know.